The great chamber of the Galactic Council was built to make visitors feel small. Its walls were made of living crystal, glowing faintly in shifting colors. The ceiling arched high above, like the sky of an alien world, and every sound echoed with power. Hundreds of alien delegations filled the seats, their bodies of every shape and size, scaled, feathered, furred, or made of strange metal forms. They were all here for one reason, to judge humanity. At the center, a ring of light shone upon a single figure. The human ambassador stood tall, his black uniform clean, his hands calm at his sides. Around him, whispers rose like waves. "They broke the law of the stars," one alien hissed. "They are dangerous," another growled. "No unity, no respect. They cannot stay in this council." The voices grew louder. Claws tapped against tables. Wings fluttered in anger. A tentacled being slammed the ground, making the crystal floor tremble. At last, the council speaker, a towering alien with a long silver neck and glowing eyes, raised its hand. Silence fell. The speaker's voice carried across the hall, cold and sharp. "Humans," it declared, "you stand accused of breaking the sacred laws of peace. You acted without permission, you interfered in forbidden space, and you unleashed violence where others stayed away. This council will decide if your species belongs among us, or if you will be cast out forever." The alien crowd erupted again. "Cast them out! Cast them out!" But the human ambassador did not flinch. He waited until the voices died down. His gaze swept across the chamber, meeting the eyes of his accusers. Then he spoke in a steady voice that carried more weight than the shouting around him. "You call us reckless. You call us dangerous. You say we broke your peace." He paused. "But we did not break peace. We survived what none of you dared to face." A sudden stillness fell. The words were like a spark in the cold air. For a moment, even the speaker hesitated. From the back of the chamber, an old alien elder rose slowly. Its body was thin and fragile, like dried branches, yet its voice trembled with fear. "Do not speak of it, human. Do not say that name." The human's eyes narrowed. "You mean the monster?" The hall shook with whispers. Dozens of alien races murmured in alarm. Some looked away, some hissed in fear, and others trembled as if a ghost had walked into the room. The name itself was enough to stir panic. The speaker struck its staff against the floor. Boom! Silence! But silence was hard to keep, for the word monster had already poisoned the air. One alien with wide golden eyes shouted. No one survived that horror. Entire fleets vanished. No signals, no wreckage left behind, only shadows. Another, with armored skin and blades for arms, hissed. If humans speak of survival, they lie. No race can face it and return. The human ambassador remained calm. He clasped his hands behind his back, his voice even. Yet we did return, and that is why you fear us. The council chamber grew colder. The aliens did not like the sound of his words. Some sneered. Others whispered angrily. The speaker leaned forward. Explain yourself. What are you claiming? The human's lips curled into the smallest of smiles. That the monster you fear so deeply is real. That it came for us. And that, while every one of your proud civilizations fled, we stood. We fought. And we survived. Gasps filled the room. The elder shook its head. Impossible. No race has ever fought it. Those who tried left no trace. Whole armadas disappeared into the void. The human took one step closer to the circle of light, his boots clicking against the crystal floor. His voice was sharper now, rising like a blade. You speak as if survival was never an option. That is the difference between you and us. You run. You hide. You obey your laws of peace and silence. But we are human. When a threat comes, we do not bow. We do not flee. We fight, even when victory seems impossible. The silence that followed was heavy. Some aliens stared in awe. Others glared with hatred. From the upper rows, a young alien shouted angrily, Your arrogance will destroy us all. Another voice countered, trembling. But what if they are telling the truth? What if humans really did face it? The chamber broke into chaos again. Dozens of species arguing, shouting, some demanding humans be exiled, others demanding proof. The noise grew louder and louder until the speaker struck the staff once more. Boom! The hall fell silent again. The speaker's glowing eyes locked onto the ambassador. Human, you will explain. From the beginning, this council demands to know, what did you face? And how did you live when no one else ever has? The ambassador let the silence stretch, making the aliens lean forward, their bodies tense with curiosity and fear. Then he spoke slowly, each word heavy with meaning. You want the truth? Very well. I will tell you how we met the monster, and why, in the darkness where all others fell, humanity stood alone. The chamber was frozen. Every eye, every ear, every mind locked onto the human in the circle of light. The aliens had feared this story for centuries. None had dared to speak it, and now humanity was ready to break the silence. The human took a deep breath. His voice lowered, almost like a whisper, but still clear in the vast chamber. It began far from your council's protected worlds. It began with a colony ship, and with the first scream that echoed across the stars. And with those words, the story began. The chamber of the Galactic Council was silent after the humans' last words. No one moved. No one even breathed. The air felt heavy, as if the very walls of the crystal hall remembered the shadow of that name. The speaker finally broke the silence. Its long silver neck bent forward, glowing eyes sharp. Explain. What colony ship? What scream? Speak, human. The human ambassador nodded once, calm as ever. It was not one of your fleets. It was ours. The ship was called Artemis, a colony ship carrying thousands of men, women, and children. We sent it into the dark, far beyond the borders of this council. A ripple of unease moved through the aliens. Some muttered angrily, reckless humans, always pushing limits. Others whispered in dread. The elder who had spoken before rose again, its frail body trembling. You should not have gone there. That space is forbidden. It is cursed. The human's eyes locked onto the elder. You call it cursed. We call it unexplored. The elder's thin voice cracked with fear. You do not understand. That place is not empty. It is where it sleeps. Whispers spread like fire. Some aliens turned their faces away, refusing to hear. Others covered their ears, as if the word itself could summon the beast. The monster, one alien finally said, its voice a low growl. The thing that ends fleets. The human ambassador stood straight, his expression unreadable. Yes, that is what came for us. The council chamber erupted. Lies, one alien roared. Its body was covered in green scales, tail lashing the floor in anger. No ship has ever escaped its grasp. Not once in 10,000 years. Maybe their ship was never attacked at all, another sneered. Perhaps they used this myth to make themselves important. But in the shadows of the high seats, some aliens did not sneer. Their faces showed only fear. The speaker struck the floor with its staff again. Boom! Order! The noise died down. The speaker leaned closer to the human. You claim survival against the beast. If that is true, then you must tell us what you saw, what you faced. This council demands clarity. The ambassador's voice was low but clear. You demand clarity, yet for centuries you all refused to speak of it. You buried the truth. You kept silence. You called us reckless for walking where you feared to tread. He paused, then added, perhaps it is not us who are guilty, but you, for letting the galaxy remain blind. Gasps spread again. Some aliens shouted in protest. Others looked down in shame. The elder raised its shaking hands. Enough! You do not know what you awaken by speaking of it. That creature, it is not an enemy like others. It does not conquer. It does not negotiate. It only consumes. The human nodded slowly. Yes, we know. And for the first time, the chamber felt colder than space itself. The elder's voice grew softer, trembling like a dying flame. I was young when my people told me the story. Long before your kind built ships, long before this council was born, great fleets of my ancestors went into the dark. They sought new stars, new homes. Its black eyes stared far away, as if seeing ghosts. They never returned. Only fragments of broken ships drifted back. Hulls torn as if by claws, metal melted by some unnatural fire. No signals, no survivors. Just wreckage, whispering of terror. The aliens in the chamber listened, their faces grim. Some had heard the story as legend. Others had buried it as myth. But the elder continued. Then it came again. Not to us, but to others. The Keth, the Vurathi, the Trin. Whole armadas swallowed by a shadow larger than mountains. Entire systems silenced in one night. That was when the council made the law. Do not go there. Do not speak of it. Forget the cursed void. The chamber fell silent again. The human ambassador's voice cut through like steel. But we did not forget. We went. And we learned the truth you were too afraid to face. Dozens of alien eyes turned toward him, some wide with terror, some narrowing with rage. The speaker's glowing eyes flared. And what truth is that? The human leaned forward slightly, his voice calm, but each word a blade. That the monster is not unstoppable. That it can be fought. The chamber exploded into chaos. No! Screamed one alien, its wings beating frantically. You do not understand. We saw planets burn. Lies. Tricks, shouted another. But there were others who leaned closer, desperate for more. For hope. The elder trembled. No one who met it ever returned. If you speak truth, then your people are cursed more than blessed. The human did not answer immediately. He let their fear rise, let their doubts spread. Then he said softly, You fear it because you never saw it with your own eyes. We did, and we lived to tell the tale. The speaker raised its staff, silencing the uproar again. Enough. The council will not dismiss this so easily. If the humans have truly faced this nightmare, then we must know how. You will share every detail. The ambassador's face remained calm, but in his eyes there was something unyielding. Something that made even the bravest alien shift uncomfortably. He nodded once. Very well. If you want the truth, then you shall have it. I will tell you how the monster came for us. I will tell you how the sky burned, how ships died screaming in the dark. And I will tell you how, when all seemed lost, humanity did not fall. The chamber was deathly quiet. Even the echoes seemed to hold their breath. The human closed his eyes for a moment, as if remembering the first terrible sight. When he opened them again, his voice was colder, harder. It began when the stars went dark. The human ambassador stood in the circle of light, his voice calm but heavy with memory. The chamber of the Galactic Council leaned forward, every alien eye fixed on him. Even those who doubted wanted to hear. It began, the human said, with the colony ship Artemis. It was meant to be a journey of hope. Families, engineers, farmers, children, all carried across the stars to build a new world. The voyage was peaceful. Then, without warning, the stars vanished. The crowd shifted uneasily. At first, the crew thought it was a system failure. The ambassador continued. They checked instruments, recalibrated sensors. But the readings were true. The stars did not shine. The sky itself had gone black. The human's tone dropped lower. Then came the sound. A signal, no, not a signal, but something else. A scream carried through the void. Not mechanical. Not natural. It was alive. Every system shook. Children cried. Soldiers froze. And then we saw it. A murmur spread across the chamber. Some aliens lowered their heads as if they already knew what he was about to describe. The human's voice cut like a knife. The monster. He paused, letting the weight of the word settle. It was larger than mountains. Its body was wrapped in shadows, its eyes burning like suns. It did not drift, it hunted. Its form was not fully seen, always shifting, but the shape was wrong, impossible. As if the universe itself rejected it. Wherever it passed, light died. The elder alien whimpered softly, covering its face. The ambassador went on. The Artemis had no weapons strong enough to fight. It was a colony ship, not a warship. But the crew did not surrender. They sent a distress call back to Earth. And then they did something no other race dared. They fought. The chamber erupted with disbelief. Impossible, one alien shouted. They had no chance, another cried. No one fights the beast, hissed a third. The speaker raised its staff, silencing them. Continue, it commanded. The human nodded. The soldiers aboard the Artemis knew they could not destroy it. But they could delay it. They launched shuttles, drones, even cargo containers, anything that could fly. They threw metal and fire into the darkness, slowing its approach. And they paid in blood. Hundreds died in the first hour. Yet they bought enough time. Enough time for what? A nervous alien asked. The human's eyes hardened. For Earth to respond. Weeks later, Earth's fleets arrived. Not one, but many. Old ships, new ships, vessels untested, crews barely trained. Humanity had never fought a creature like this, but they did not hesitate. The first wave attacked boldly. Missiles screamed through the void. Railguns lit the black sky with fire. Explosions thundered, shaking the hulls of ships. And for a moment it seemed the monster could be hurt. But then it struck back. The human's voice grew cold. Its roar cut through comms, shattering channels. Its limbs, or whatever they were, lashed out like storms, tearing ships apart. Whole cruisers were swallowed in one strike. Hulls melted under some strange energy, men screaming as their voices vanished in static. It was a slaughter. The chamber was silent, every alien frozen. They had heard rumors before, but hearing it from human lips was different. We lost many, the ambassador said. More than you can count. But we did not run. We adapted. We changed tactics every hour. We sacrificed ships to create traps. We lured it into minefields. We used our dead as shields. Every time it struck, we answered with fire. Where others would have fled, we fought harder. He looked around the chamber, his gaze burning. That is what makes us different. We learn in the middle of fire. We grow stronger in the jaws of death. The speaker leaned closer, its glowing eyes narrowing. And, did you win? The human's expression was unreadable. We did not win. Not then. But we did not die either. That was enough. The words struck harder than any victory. To face the beast and survive. That alone was unthinkable to the council races. The elder alien whispered, trembling, Impossible. Impossible. The ambassador's voice sharpened. Not impossible. Human. He continued the tale. The Artemis limped away, scarred but alive. Hundreds of ships were destroyed. Tens of thousands of our people were gone. But the monster did not finish us. For the first time in history, a fleet came back from the void. Gasps filled the hall. Some aliens covered their mouths in shock. Others stared at the human with something more than fear, something like respect. The speaker's voice was harsh. And you told no one? You kept this from the council. The human's eyes darkened. Would you have listened? You called us reckless for reaching too far. You called us dangerous for refusing to hide. We learned the truth while you sat here in silence, pretending the darkness was safe. Some aliens shouted in anger. Others lowered their heads in shame. The human's voice cut through them all. You call this a trial. You say we broke your laws. But the truth is simple. Your laws kept you blind. Our defiance kept us alive. That is why you fear us. That is why you envy us. The speaker slammed its staff down, the sound echoing like thunder. Enough! Your arrogance burns like fire. You claim survival, but survival is not victory. If the beast rises again, you will all fall. The human's lips curved into a thin smile. Then perhaps you should pray it never returns. Because when it does, and it will, you will not stand without us. The hall fell into silence. Every alien felt the weight of those words. Humanity had not won, but they had done what no one else ever had. They had faced the monster and lived. And in their survival they carried a warning and a challenge. The human ambassador stepped back into the light, his eyes scanning the chamber. You wanted the truth. Now you have it. We are not guilty. We are not reckless. We are not weak. We are human, and we will never bow. The silence that followed was thick with fear, anger, and something else, hope. And far away, beyond the safe borders of the council, something stirred in the darkness. The Galactic Council chamber was restless. After hearing the human ambassador's words, no one could stay calm. Some aliens argued that humans were liars. Others whispered that perhaps their story was true. The chamber echoed with fear and doubt. The speaker raised its staff and silenced the hall. Enough! This meeting is not about myths. It is about law. Humanity has admitted they broke the boundaries. They entered the forbidden void. Whether they survived or not, they still violated the council's peace. The human ambassador stood still, his face calm but his voice sharp. Your laws are not peace. They are fear. You pretend the darkness does not exist, while we bleed in it. You call us guilty for surviving. Gasps filled the chamber. Many aliens hissed in anger. Others lowered their eyes, ashamed. But before the speaker could respond, a sound broke through the hall. Not a voice, not an alarm, a signal. A red warning light flashed above the chamber. The council guards rushed forward. Strange symbols streamed across the crystal walls, urgent distress codes. The speaker froze. His glowing eyes widened. This cannot be. The aliens panicked. What is it? What happened? One of the guards shouted, its voice trembling. High Council, we have received a report. A border fleet is gone. Entire systems have gone silent. And witnesses saw it. The chamber grew cold. Everyone knew what the guard meant. The monster. Chaos broke out. Aliens screamed. Some rushed toward the exits. Others shouted at the humans. You brought this. Your words awakened it. The elder fell to its knees, whispering in terror. No, no, it has returned. The speaker struck the floor with its staff. Boom! The sound barely held the chamber together. Order! There will be order! The human ambassador's face did not change. He spoke with steady calm. So, comes again. The silence you built around it is broken now. Silence! The speaker roared. Do not pretend this is your victory. If it is true, if the beast has returned, then we are all doomed. The human ambassador stepped forward into the circle of light. No, we are not doomed. Not if you stand with us. The aliens hissed in disbelief. Stand with humans? Impossible. You are reckless. You bring destruction wherever you go. The ambassador's voice rose, stronger now. You call us reckless because we do not hide. You call us dangerous because we fight. But when the monster comes, who else will face it? You? No. You will flee again. But we, humans, will not run. The speaker glared at him. You claim you can fight it again? Foolishness. You said yourself you did not win. The ambassador's lips curved into a thin smile. No, we did not win. But we survived. And we learned. That is more than any of you have ever done. The chamber was silent, except for the sound of alarms still flashing red across the walls. Suddenly, another signal came in. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed a fleet, alien ships firing desperately into the dark. Beams of light cut across empty space. Missiles burst into silence. And then shadows, a shape too large, too wrong to see clearly. Ships broke apart like toys. One by one, their signals vanished. The hologram ended. The chamber was silent in horror. The elder wept softly. The speaker's staff trembled in its hand. The human ambassador spoke, his voice quiet but firm. Now you see, the monster has returned. And it will not stop. Not until everything you love is ash and silence. He turned slowly, his gaze sweeping across the chamber. But this time we are ready. The aliens stared at him, some with disbelief, some with desperate hope. What do you mean? Ready? One asked, voice trembling. The human's eyes were sharp as steel. When we fought it the first time, we survived by instinct, by sacrifice, by refusing to bow. But we did not forget. For years, in silence, we prepared. We studied the shadows. We built weapons designed for one enemy alone. While you sat here, pretending the danger was gone, we built the means to fight it. The chamber erupted again, voices clashing. Impossible! They cannot! They lie! But others whispered, if anyone could, it would be them. The speaker slammed its staff once more. Enough! If what you say is true, then humanity will be tested again. We will not risk our fleets. If you are as strong as you claim, then you alone will face it. We will watch. And if you fail, your kind will be destroyed. The human ambassador's smile was cold. Then watch closely. For when the sky burns again, it will not be us who fall. The alarms grew louder. A guard shouted, the monster's path is confirmed. It moves toward the border worlds. If it is not stopped, the council itself will be next. Panic spread again, but beneath it all, one truth was clear. No one else would stand. Only the humans. The ambassador turned toward the holographic display, where the last moments of the alien fleet still lingered. His eyes narrowed. Then it begins again. The war you never dared to fight. He looked back at the council one final time. This time we finish what we started. And with that he stepped back, the light around him fading. The chamber was left in silence, filled with fear and dread. For the first time in centuries, the council races knew the truth. The monster was real. It had returned. And only humanity had the will to face it. Far away, in the cold void, the shadows moved. The monster opened its burning eyes once more. The human fleets gathered at the edge of the void. Hundreds of ships lined up in formation. Frigates, cruisers, carriers, and a single massive flagship at the center. Their hulls were dark gray, painted with scars of old wars, and their weapons burned faint red in the cold black sky. Every human soldier knew what was coming. Every captain, every pilot, every crew member had been told the same truth. They were going to face the monster again. On the council worlds, billions of aliens watched through live transmissions. Their fleets stayed hidden, their weapons silent. They had no courage to join the battle. They only watched. Some prayed. Some whispered that humans were insane. Others whispered that maybe, just maybe, they could succeed. In the command room of the human flagship Vanguard, Captain Elias stood tall. His uniform was plain, but his eyes burned with steel. Around him, officers moved quickly, preparing weapons, linking ships, calculating paths. Elias raised his voice. This is it. You know what waits for us in the dark. No one else will fight it. No one else will even try. That makes this our burden and our chance. The crew looked at him, faces pale but determined. Elias continued. Remember Earth. Remember the ones we lost on the Artemis. Remember why we stand here today. Humanity does not bow. We fight and we endure. That is who we are. The comms lit up across the fleet. Captains repeated his words. Soldiers cheered inside their ships. Across the stars, the sound of human courage rose like thunder. And then, the void changed. At first, it was only silence. Then, the stars began to fade. Light itself seemed to die. A darkness deeper than shadow spread across the horizon. And in that darkness, two burning eyes appeared. The monster. It moved like a storm, massive and shapeless, its form twisting in ways no mind could fully understand. Its roar echoed through the comms, shaking every ship. Systems flickered. Screens cracked. Some soldiers screamed. But the fleet held. Captain Elias raised his hand. Fire! The human fleet lit the void with firepower. Missiles screamed forward. Railguns cut streaks of light across the darkness. Plasma cannons roared, burning holes in the black. The void lit up like a second sun. Explosions slammed into the monster's form. For a moment it staggered. For a moment it seemed hurt. Cheers erupted across the fleet. But then it moved. A limb of shadow lashed out, faster than thought. A cruiser vanished in a burst of flame. Another ship twisted and broke apart as if crushed by invisible hands. The monster roared again, and shockwaves tore through the fleet. Dozens of human ships were gone in seconds. Screams filled the comms. "Hold formation," Elias shouted. His voice cut through the chaos like iron. "We knew this would happen. Hold the line." The humans adapted. Smaller ships darted forward, baiting the monster's strikes. Others laid traps. Mines hidden in the dark, energy nets spread across its path. Every time it lashed out, humans sacrificed ships to protect others. Every loss bought seconds. Every second gave humanity another chance. Aliens across the galaxy watched in silence. For them, this was madness. No fleet had ever lasted this long. But the humans fought like fire itself. Inside the Vanguard, officers shouted reports. "Shields failing. Half our missiles gone. Casualty count rising." Elias stood firm. "Keep pushing. Every hit counts. Every sacrifice counts." Then came the turning point. The monster opened its burning maw, releasing a wave of black energy that swallowed half a squadron. Ships melted, their screams cut short. The void itself bent, ripping apart anything caught in its path. But behind that destruction, one ship, small and almost broken, slipped through the chaos. Carried a special payload, a weapon designed in secret, built only for this enemy. The crew of that ship sent their final message. For Earth. For humanity. Then they rammed straight into the monster's core. The explosion was blinding. The void shook. For a moment, the monster recoiled, its burning eyes flickering. The entire galaxy watching held its breath. "Did it work?" someone whispered. The monster screamed, louder than ever. It was hurt but not dead. Captain Elias clenched his fists. "Then we finish it here." The Vanguard turned sharply, engines blazing. Every weapon powered to maximum. Its cannons glowed white-hot. The captain opened comms to all ships. "This is our moment. Strike with everything you have. Humanity stands together." The fleet answered with a single word, shouted by thousands of voices. "Together!" All across the void, human ships surged forward, weapons blazing. The monster thrashed, tearing ships apart. But still they came. Fire and steel filled the darkness. At the center of it all, the Vanguard charged. Straight into the monster's burning eyes. Elias whispered under his breath. "For the ones we lost, for the ones yet to come." Then he gave the final order. "Detonate." A blast brighter than suns ripped through the void. For a moment, everything vanished in light. The monster roared one last time, a sound that shook the galaxy. Then silence. The screens across the council chamber went black. Billions of aliens leaned forward, waiting, praying, fearing. When the light faded, the void was empty. No monster, only wreckage, only silence. And among the silence, one human signal still burned. The Vanguard, scarred, broken, but alive. The human fleet had stood where no one else dared. They had fought, they had bled, and against all odds they had survived. But the question remained, was the monster truly gone, or only waiting? The chamber of the Galactic Council was silent. Billions had watched the battle. Billions had seen the fire, the sacrifice, the impossible. And now they waited for the final truth. On the great crystal walls, the last transmission replayed. The human flagship Vanguard stood broken in the void, its hull torn, smoke trailing into space. Around it drifted wreckage of hundreds of human ships. The battlefield was a graveyard of steel. But the monster was gone. The speaker gripped its staff tightly, its glowing eyes dim. "This cannot be. It is impossible," the elder whispered, voice trembling. And yet, they did it. Whispers filled the chamber. Aliens of every kind looked at one another, fear and awe mixing in their faces. Some had mocked the humans. Some had called them reckless. Now, none could deny the truth. Humans had done what no race ever achieved. They had faced the monster, and they had survived. The doors to the chamber opened. Guards stepped aside as the human ambassador entered. His uniform was scarred, his face pale from exhaustion, but his eyes burned with fire. He walked slowly into the circle of light, and for the first time, the chamber did not roar with insults. It was silent. He looked around at the gathered races, meeting their eyes one by one. Then he spoke, his voice low but clear. You watched us fight. You watched us bleed. You watched us lose thousands of lives. But you also watched us do what none of you dared. We stood. We did not run. We faced the monster, and we destroyed it. The silence was heavy, almost holy. You call us reckless. You call us dangerous. Maybe we are. But when the darkness comes, when the void itself screams, what else will save you? Your laws? Your silence? Your fear? No. Only courage. Only will. Only humanity. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Some aliens bowed their heads in shame. Others stared with awe. The elder rose shakily to its feet. The truth is clear. The humans did not break the council. They showed us what we were too afraid to see. They reminded us what it means to fight. But the speaker slammed its staff against the floor. Boom! Enough! You may have survived. But you disobeyed the council's laws. You acted alone. You brought danger to us all. This council must decide your fate. The chamber erupted again. Some demanded exile. Others demanded alliance. The hall was a storm of voices. The ambassador raised his hand, silencing them. His voice cut through the chaos. You speak of fate as if you hold ours. But today has shown the truth. We are not bound by your fear. We are not ruled by your laws. We are human, and whether you cast us out or beg for our aid, it changes nothing. We will fight again when the darkness comes. With or without you. The words struck like thunder. The speaker's eyes blazed. You threaten the council itself? The ambassador's gaze was cold. No, I offer you a choice. Stand with us, and together we will build a galaxy that fears no monster. Or hide behind your laws, and when the next shadow falls, you will die alone. Silence again. The aliens shifted nervously. The truth was undeniable. If the monster could return once, it could return again. And if more existed, no one but humans had any hope of standing against them. The elder bowed its head. I vote for alliance. Without them, we are already dead. Others followed. One by one, alien voices called for unity. Not all agreed. Some still feared humanity, their strength, their defiance. But enough spoke in favor. Enough to change the galaxy. The speaker remained silent for a long time. At last, it lowered its staff. Then it is decided. Humanity will remain in this council. Not as the weakest, not as the reckless, but as the first line of defense. Gasps filled the chamber again. The decision was made. History had changed. The human ambassador turned, walking toward the doors. Before leaving, he stopped and looked back. You call us defenders now, but remember this. We did not fight for you. We fought for ourselves, for our people, for our children. If you want us to fight for you too, then prove you are worth saving. Then he left the hall, his footsteps echoing through the crystal chamber. Far away, in the cold edges of space, silence returned. The monster was gone, but the void was endless. The darkness was deep, and in that darkness, perhaps other eyes were watching. On a quiet world, a human child looked up at the night sky and whispered, "What else is out there?" No one could answer, but one truth was certain: humanity would face it. Whatever it was, humanity would not bow. For the galaxy had learned a lesson that could never be forgotten. Humans broke the Galactic Council. Then they faced a monster no one survived before. And still they endured.